Welcome to Mutually Yours, the podcast from Aditya Birla Sun Life's Mutual Funds for Her initiative, where we celebrate women investors who are reshaping India's financial story with confidence and resilience. And today we are joined by Neha Singh, the co-founder of Tracxn, one of the pioneering companies in India which help track the startup and investment across the globe. It's a real pleasure to have you with us today.
Thanks a lot. Excited to be here.
Before we dive deep into understanding women investment and how we understand what financial independence is, I want to know a little more about your journey, your personal journey with money and investing. If you can share a little bit insight into how you look at it and how your journey has been so far.
For me, I think my journey has been being financially independent. I would say goes back to my graduate days. Thankfully, my I got a scholarship in IIT when I was studying, and so the entire that education was sponsored by thanks to the scholarship. And then I did jobs for about 4 years. So that was when I had started earning for the first time. And then Stanford, thankfully I got another scholarship for Stanford. That's the Dubai Money Scholarship. And so that is why I was able to, despite the MBA being fairly expensive as it is, but you didn't have the burden of the loan, and you could actually do a startup after that. And obviously, you did not earn for the initial years when you were doing a startup. And then once you reach a particular scale, then you were back to sort of normal.
Now running a startup. So how did you understand that feeling financially independent is what? It is about saving yourself a lot of money. It is about earning your own thing is a different independent, or the independent decision making is financial independent. What makes you understand this term clearly?
Yeah, so it's actually a great feeling when you have to stop asking for money from others. I think that's one switch. And you could take decisions independently. Right. I think when you start your first job, I think that is probably one of the times which is most fulfilling, I would say. That now you can do things, so you don't need to ask people, or you don't feel like you're putting the burden on someone else. And I have to think about something, because I have to be careful about how much I burden them. So I think then you are sort of more free, in a sense that you are taking decisions. So even if you're taking a little risky decisions which you feel, it's all on on your own sort of salary.
So financial independence is very important because it helps you take the risk, and hence risk you're able to take, you're able to grow further. But Nia, I would like you to take us through the journey of coming into being a women entrepreneur, starting being part of the startup world, being a co-founder. How does that resonate with you today?
So that has been obviously a very key part. And for me, I think Tracxn was more born by the fact that there was a problem that you connected with and you wanted to solve it. So to give an example, when you were a private market investor, you used to spend disproportionate time in searching for startups which are investable. And then when you see the other side, the startup and the founders are also putting a lot of effort to be discovered by investors.
Yes.
So that is a problem that we wanted to solve, right? Like if you have to, so think about you investing in public markets without knowing all the companies that you can invest in. So that is what sort of existed in the private market, that you were literally, like reaching out to companies and making them understand that you can sort of take money. And, when a company comes to you, you are doing a lot of work. So we thought that there has to be like a, just like in the public market, you have platforms like a Bloomberg, etc., right? There has to be a platform like this that exists for the private market. And this was a platform that we really wished existed when we were investors. So this was born out of a personal pain point. And, this was exciting enough that you thought that, you could actually build a global platform, in this space, right? So that's how the initial idea of Tracxn was born. And that's how, we started working on that.
But to understand more, like how do you see the role of the platforms like Tracxn in empowering women investors?
So for us, we want to make the information available, the whole bridge the information gap and make the information very accessible about startups. To give you an example, if there are partners who want to just focus on investing in companies in a particular sector, they should be able to do that. Right?
Yeah.
Today, if you want to invest in, say, ESG in India or impact investing in India, you should be able to do that very effortlessly. That's one. Second thing, what we've realized is that there are, funds who are also having some themes. Like sometimes, they want to invest in women-backed startups, right?
Okay.
And there are a lot of interesting women which are doing good startups, and our aim is to actually bridge that information gap. So anyone who wants to, like wants to invest behind a particular mandate, they should be able to do that very effortlessly.
In your view, what makes a woman naturally resilient investors? Like, because they are said to be stronger in terms of savings, in terms of holding longer. So, do you have a say or a understanding on that?
For sure. So I totally resonate with that. And one of my observations has been that women are more thoughtful investors. So one is there are a lot of responsibilities that they have, right?
Yeah.
If you think about not
Travel too
just,
much. Yes.
right, like if they have their home responsibilities, which is there, if they have kids, that's another responsibility which is there.
Yes.
If they are working, then that also takes obviously a good amount of mind share which is there. And apart from that, they're looking at investing as not something as a pastime, right?
Yeah.
But more as a responsible investor, right? So
Mhm.
typically what I've seen is that they're looking for more longer term things. So they're
Mm.
not always looking at very short term opportunities, but they're more looking at longer term things, so that once they are able to spend time on that, then they don't have to rethink every time. Because obviously the time that I have seen, like working for women especially, or homemakers as well,
Mm.
they have a lot of responsibilities at their hand. Typically, traditionally, it is thought that women are a little risk averse, but
Yes.
I would say that that has evolved a lot, right?
Oh.
Like today, for instance, if you look at, like equities is fairly high risk, or
Mm.
even, options, there are women which are doing options trading, or even if you take up like, your private market investing, that's very illiquid, higher risk, which is there. There are a lot of women who are coming into these asset classes, right? Who
Yes.
are investing actively in this asset class.
Mm. Mm.
So I think what has evolved is that, it's not so much risk averse, but it's more thoughtful investing, I would say. So
Okay.
they're not just investing based on, doing it for a shorter period of time, or they would have heard from someone, right? They're also fairly, I would say, thoughtful in doing that. So, but over time, what I've realized is that they have entered into all the, like high risk asset classes as well,
Okay.
right? And because of the fact that, the other thing is that, once you start early, then you tend to experiment with more of those things, right?
Yes.
So I think, having being financially independent, and that gives you the initial time to experiment with a few things, and then over time you realize that, there are some asset classes which you find most comfort in,
Mm.
and you can actually, spend more time in sort of going deeper into that.
Have you figured out that parameter? Is there a standard model that one can follow and be comfortable in being in the investment and financial investment world?
So there are these, usual asset classes which is there, like mutual funds in India. So thankfully, I think in India, I think mutual funds, because of the fact that they are well regulated, etc. I think they have done an excellent job. Which, if I compare to my friends in other countries, they may not have that, that good an asset class which sort of exists, which can give you return, and which is fairly regulated as well, right? So I think that is that's a good asset class. So that's I started, first exploring about that, way back in my first salary, right? And then over time, I think it has become more only deeper, and my respect for all the mutual funds which I have done has only increased. And within that, you can experiment. Like if you want to, if you want to be more risk, you can go to more equity focused ones. You can go to small cap, etc. And then once you if you want to actually just park and be, be more on the safer side, you have the debt ones as well, right? So there is a mix which is there, and I like the fact that all of these have become fairly large. Second thing is that if you have, obviously there's equities which is there, there's futures which is there, there's all these things, but like obviously that requires a little bit more time and effort for people, because it's not that you can just do and then forget about it. Most likely you have to be a little bit more active. So there
True.
are some things which work better if you're more passive, and there are some things which work better if you're more active.
So, if I have to ask you, if I talk about Traction again, where do you see Traction's journey going, especially with the rise of women-led investment decisions and new asset classes in India?
We are fairly excited about the opportunity which is there, and I think we feel that we can actually build a large data player out of India. So if you
Yes.
see, most of the data players in the financial space have been, headquartered either in New York or in London with their back offices in India. So,
True.
we feel now we have an opportunity to create a global platform, out of India. So that's what something that keeps us fairly excited. And, I think, I would probably hope to see more and more women investors, more women entrepreneurs coming in. Like even the fact that when we were getting listed, one of the comments that I had is, oh, there are very few women founders, which are there, which probably ring the bell. So I think I'm hoping to see that change over the next few years, and more, women who are doing very interesting startups, entrepreneurs coming up, as well as investors coming into this space. So one of the things that has also changed, if you look at the number of women investors, which is there both in the public and the private space, which used to be very less, that has increased a bit, but it's still not close to, nowhere close to like the 50% at least. But I am hoping that that changes over time and that improves. To give you an example, I've seen even if you look at my college days, like in IT Bombay, the number of women at my time was 6%. Now it has become, a double-digit percentage, right? So that has improved. So, so though it looks low initially, but thankfully, I think there's a lot of focus around getting more diversity. I think which is very important for decision making, right? At all the levels, and I think that is just probably helping these numbers improve.
What is the golden mantra for the women investors you want to leave us with?
I think one mantra which I will probably leave with for women investors is one is start early. And experiment with your money initially to figure out what asset classes you resonate most.
Is there something secret that you want to share with us that helps you make your day worth it, your time utilized best, your investment go right? Is there a mantra that you want to share with us there?
I think one thing which is common is discipline, workout, and as much discipline that you require when you are being financially prudent, and when you are doing in your investment part, you also need to have that discipline in your health and your daily routine. I would say I think that just makes it more worthwhile, right? And that's why once you have some saving, you feel like okay, I'm energetic enough that I can do these 10 other things.
And Neha, finally, what does mutually yours mean to you?
So for me, I think it means being independent, being financially free, and being able to do things that you wished that you wanted to do, earlier, and you are sort of independent both financially as well as I would say fitness wise, to be able to do the things that you aspire to do. So once you are able to complete the whole circle, I think that is when that's probably the one thing which is happiness at the next level.
Thank you so much, Neha, for sharing the insights and your journey with us on this podcast today. It's a clear pleasure. Thank you to all the listeners for listening into this podcast, and hope to see you next for the next episode.
An investor education and awareness initiative of Aditya Birla Sun Life Mutual Fund. Mutual fund investments are subject to market risks. Read all scheme-related documents carefully.